Hello everyone and welcome to this screencast. I'm going to be showing you how to use Ansible to install some packages on a remote server, to run some scripts, or as the case may be, anything really that you want to do on your remote server. So let's say you have Ansible installed on a server, and you want to, from that server, have access to another server, install packages on it, run some script on it, as the case may be. So Ansible's power is not really reflected in using Ansible for another server or two server. Its real power really lies in using Ansible to configure hundreds, thousands of servers. Say for example, you want to install a single package on 1000 servers. Now, installing that package one after the other inside of those servers, you bet, will be very tedious. So that is why, and that is where Ansible comes to the rescue. So let's continue. The first thing here is I'm going to connect my server to my VS Code. I'm going to have to connect my server to my VS Code. So I will just grab the public IP address. So I'll grab my public IP address, and then I'll come to GitHub. I've already opened the config file. So the connecting VS Code to your EC2 instance is not part of this code. Probably I'll make another video for that, but for now let's just go with the flow. So this is the public IP address, and I will just put it here, and I would come here and connect to host, because the name of my this thing is Jenkins. So I'll just click Jenkins, and then it will open up another VS Code windows for me. Alright, okay, so let's talk about Ansible. So Ansible works by plays. So you have your playbook, and inside of the playbook is where you define your plays. You define what you want Ansible to actually do when it connects to those servers, right? But before it can actually connect to those servers, right, you are going to have to define the credentials to that server. You're going to give Ansible the credentials to that server, and essentially it's going to just use those credentials to connect to them. So that's why we are going to be specifying the credentials to this server, right? So for my inventory, so Ansible call where you create credentials for your servers, Ansible call them inventory. So that is why I have it in the inventory folder. And as you can see, I have development, I have production, I have staging, I have UAT, different servers for different environments, right? So for my development environment, I have my IP addresses that Ansible will use to connect to those servers. So these are the IP addresses. So the host is going to be, it's a variable, and it's going to be defined like this: Ansible host with the IP address and the SSH key, and then you're just going to specify the path to that SSH key, right? So these are just the names that I've given to each of those servers. So I have web 1, web 2, NFS, database, and load balancer. So you can actually group your servers, and that is what I'm doing right here. So if I have, because I have just one NFS server, that's why it's here. If I have more than one server that belongs to that, all of them are just doing basically the same thing, I'm going to group them as NFS server, and that is the same thing you're seeing here. So because web server are just two servers, so I group them to web servers, and database is just database, and load balancer is just LB, right? So that is how you define your inventory in Ansible, right? So the next thing is I will now create, I've already created a playbook though, but so I'm just gonna go ahead and comment out everything that I have here, and create a new playbook essentially a new playbook that would accomplish what I want to show in this video, right? So I'm just going to copy all and comment out, right? So the play that I want to show in this video is written in, let me just comment this out right away. The play that I want to accomplish in this video is written in this file here. It's written in this file, so I'm just going to grab everything and copy it down to this playbook here for simplicity's sake, right? So yeah, so this is our play here. Now, like I said, Ansible works basically with play, and play is usually the entry point for Ansible, and the component of a play consists, as the case may be, a name. This is a name for a play. This is a name for a play here, and host. So you remember when we talk about our inventory, where I specify NFS server and web server, right? So this is where you use those variables to tell Ansible which servers you want this particular play to work on. So for me, I want Ansible to execute this play on just these two different grouped servers, right? So my web servers that I've grouped together, that are two servers, and then one NFS server, as I've had it set up there in my inventory list. So this play is going to get executed on web servers, two web servers, and one NFS server, and so Ansible have what they call elevated permission. So if you are very conversant with Linux, you know that everything has to do with permissions and the likes, right? So this three part here is what gives Ansible to escalate to cascade itself as the root user. So become here is telling Ansible that should it become a privileged user on that server, and I specified it as yes. And I said the remote user, the user that this is an Ansible variable, the user that it's going to become and that is going to use is this user here. And then when it's the user that is going to become, when I want it to become a privileged user, is the root, essentially the super user on an Ansible on a Linux server, right? So that is what these three things are doing. So when Ansible is logging in into those servers, the regular user that is going to become is this remote user here, and when it's becoming a privileged user, it's going to become the root, and this is where you specify it, right? So the main work of an Ansible play is the task. So you can have more than one task here, but for here I just have just one task, and that will be specified by this list here. This list this is not a cause for YAML, but this is how YAML files are written. So if you need a catch up on that, you can grab a YAML crash course to understand how you specify list, dictionaries, and all of that. So these are just tasks, and task is the essential part of a play, right? So for here, since I have just one list here, that means I have just one task in this playbook here. So I have just one task. So what is the task? So inside of the task variable, I specified my play, and the name of that task of this particular task is ensure that Wireshark is the latest version, right? Now that's just the name of the task. Now there's something called modules in Ansible, and modules are essentially the things that are carrying out the job. So for example, on a Linux machine, if you want to install any package that is a CentOS or Red Hat machine, you're going to use yum. Yum is their package manager. So instead of typing yum install package manager here, so yum here is a module in Ansible, and you're just going to specify that module. This has a lot to do with how YAML files are written, so make sure you understand YAML before you continue this particular part. Right, so I have specified a module that I want to use in this task, which is yum, and then the name of the file of the package that I want to install. Basically, this is how you use yum to install any package. So you specify the yum module, and then you specify the name of the package you want to install, and then you specify the state of the package that you want to install. So Ansible works with something that they call idempotency. That is, if something is present in that particular server, do nothing, and if it is not present, then make it present. So that ensures that when we have the package already installed, it doesn't install another one, it doesn't give us an error. So Ansible first check if the package is there, and if it's not there, it installs it. So that is what this state part is doing, state present, right? So, and it's always in sometimes when you write some play, it's going to be in the past, in the past tense, right? So for example, I want to start a service on a Linux server. So instead of me to say the normal way to do that is the systemctl start the service. So I'm starting the service on the Linux machine, but when you're writing it in Ansible, so it's going to be in the past tense. So that means if that service is already started, don't forget about idempotency. So if that service is already started in Ansible, then it will not do anything. But if it is not started, or if it is dead, or if it is anything, so let me show you an example of that particular task. So here I am starting an Apache server. This is just a simple play. It's just as simple as it is. It's just a simple play. So I'm just saying start Apache, right? So I'm using the service module here, just like I said earlier. So I'm saying the service module, the name of that service module is httpd on a Red Hat server. Is httpd, and then state started. Instead of me to use start here, I use started, right? So that is the idempotency functional part of Ansible. It uses past tense to talk about things that it wants to do, such that if that thing is already in that state, it will not do anything. But if it is not if it doesn't exhibit that state, it will not finish its work, right? So that's it. And then enabled, you can see here too. When you want to enable a service on a Linux machine, you write systemctl enable a service, right? But here we're using the same past tense and all of that. So that is how Ansible work, and that is why I have the state present in this particular part. So yum is the package manager for Red Hat servers, and if I check on my server, if I show you my server now, my web servers are Red Hat server, Red Hat Linux distribution, and as well as my NFS server. But my load balancer, I want to install all these packages on my load balance on my servers, web servers and everything. So my load balancer is an Ubuntu server. So, and I cannot use yum to install, because their package managers are different Ubuntu distros and all of that. So I'm going to have to use another package manager which is apt for Ubuntu. That is why there are two different tasks. You will see that the only host that this one would work on is the load balancer host, and that is why it's the only one I specified in the host part here. And then of course remote user here, it will not use an Ubuntu server, will not use EC2 user except you specifically create an EC2 user on the machine. But the default user for an Ubuntu server is Ubuntu, so that's why it's Ubuntu here. And then of course it has root user and all of that. So the same setup as this for this second play here. And yeah, so the task here is the same thing, only that the package manager, which is apt and as a module on Ansible, is used here, and then Wireshark to be present, so is the name of the server of the package I want to install, and the state is as well as present. Now the third play is a generic play, right? So it's just supposed to update the time zone on all server. So I used the command module. So command module is just going to work as though you are typing on the terminal. So if I want to execute this same functionality on my server, right on my server, this is exactly what I would type on the terminal and then execute it. So that is the change. That is what this play is doing. It's just setting the time zone to African Lagos, right? So and the host part here, you will see I specified all. So every server in your inventory list, in the Ansible inventory list, belongs to two groups automatically. So they belong to the all group. All of them belongs to the all group, and the group that you have specified them to be in, right? So all here is saying do this particular task on all servers, and that's why, although there's nothing like all, but all of them belongs to all. I hope that is not confusing. So yeah, all of them belongs to all here. So that's why I specified it here. Now I am going to run my playbook now, just to show you how it works. But before I do that, I'm going to have to start up my servers on EC2. So currently I have just my Jenkins server on, but I want to on all of the servers. I'll be back when all of them have started. Yeah. So here all my servers are running, and it's a good time to check to run my Ansible playbook. So I'm going to go back to my VS Code and type the command to run the playbook. So the command to run the playbook is Ansible playbook. Ansible playbook -i is telling Ansible that the inventory. It's telling Ansible the inventory, and the inventory files that I want to use is inventory /dev. You can remember that I have it right in this file here. So /dev, and I'm going to specify the entry path for the playbook too. So playbooks site.yaml. Yeah, so this is the command to run my play, and let's see what happens. So the Ansible is gathering facts now. So what Ansible does first when the play begins execution is it's first checked for the availability of the servers, and that's where it is gathering facts, right? And this can be disabled though, but of course you want to make sure that the server you are trying to reach are available, right? And that's why we have OK with green colors here. And then the original task that we are saying, okay, ensure that you install Wireshark on the latest version of Wireshark on the server. So when it finish doing that, that's when it gives you a response of OK. Yeah. and the other play, which is on the LB server, you can see ensure Wireshark is latest on LB server, right? So that one to get executed, and it of course did a it gathers some fact on top of the server too that is specified in the play. Let me show you once again. That is specified in the play, which is this. Okay, the server that is specified in the play, which is in the host section here, load balancer server. Remember, this is from our inventory file, right? So it gathers some facts on top of that as well, and then it execute the play, and then it will do a play recap on all of the servers to show you that everything was okay. Yeah. Now, so to test our installation, the connection string of one of these servers. Let me grab the web server and connect to it and check the availability of Wireshark on it. So my string, yeah. So I'm going to connect to it now, and okay, so I am in on the web server 1 now, and let me check the availability of it. Where is Wireshark? Right, so you can see that we have Wireshark on it now. At least it is installed via Ansible on top of it. And the thing is, it doesn't make any difference whether you install it on the server or you install it from Ansible, because it's just like SSHing into the server and perform some actions, right? So that's it, guys, and thank you for watching. The connection string of one of these servers. Let me grab the web server and connect to it and check the availability of Wireshark on it. So my string, yeah. So I'm going to connect to it now, and okay, so I am in on the web server 1 now, and let me check the availability of it. Where is Wireshark? Right, so you can see that we have Wireshark on it now. At least it is installed via Ansible on top of it. And the thing is, it doesn't make any difference whether you install it on the server or you install it from Ansible, because it's just like SSHing into the server and perform some actions, right? So that's it, guys, and thank you for watching.